And David Drucker, you wrote on exactly this, the issue that George just highlighted, this sort of infighting within the Republican Party about anti-Semitism. And let's be clear, some of this just outright racist, hateful things that some of these young, like Nick Fuentes, have been platformed to say. Take us there about the fallout here and how really it could threaten to fracture what we think of as the MAGA base.
Yeah, I mean, this is how political coalitions unravel. You have a problem in your midst, and either you don't deal with it or your coalition splits on it. And what's happening now inside the Republican Party and the broader conservative movement is a complete disagreement over how to handle the anti-Semites that are in the midst of the center right, right? And we have seen, on the one hand, Republicans like Ted Cruz take a firm stand against Tucker Carlson, against Nick Fuentes. It's ridiculous, really, that we have to talk about this as that it was some sort of decision. But I think Cruz is a great representation of these center-right figures who are speaking out and not letting this go. On the other side, we have two people that could do a lot about this and make this whole process a whole lot less painful, both President Trump and Vice President Vance. Now, it has to be said that Trump, as far as many as many political observers will tell you, is about as pro-Israel a president as we have ever had. And when you look at the Republican Party writ large over the last 25 years, it has become reliably pro-Israel and critical, usually, of these sorts of figures. But something has happened over the past 10 to 15 years that I think is at the root of this problem and often gets missed, is that for most of the Reagan era, the Republican Party, whether you disagreed with them or not, whether you liked them or not, was built around ideas and the pushing of reforms. Even the Bush administration in the early 2000s, he was pushing immigration reform and entitlement reform. And those were the grounds that Republicans fought with Democrats on. And sometime during the Obama administration, they got it into their head that their number one goal had to be blocking Democrats from power, that the U.S. was on the brink of some irreversible collapse, that the next election really could be the last election that mattered. And the primary goal became defeating the left. And so if your primary goal is defeating the left because you think the country is on the brink of collapse, it sort of stands to reason that you're going to be willing to put up with a populist right that includes a lot of vile anti-Semites and racists. It's logical. And I think that until the Republican Party gets itself out of that line of thinking, it's going to have a hard time saying to itself, we don't want those voters, we don't care about those voters, because that's ultimately what they've been afraid of, why they've been silent with Carlson, why a lot of them have been silent when it comes to this populist right faction, because they don't want to lose their votes.
But, David, is it really all that hard, though? I mean, to reject this sort of anti-Semitism? I realize that, support for Israel is one of the issues that has been seized on by the anti-Semites, let's just call them that, who make up part of the MAGA coalition. But isn't there also this sort of ancient anti-Semitism? Has it been there all along? Because after all, there's, hundreds, thousands of years of history of this. Has that been an undercurrent on the right all along, and it's now just manifesting itself?
Well, I mean, look, this is something that the right has dealt with over the past century from time to time, right? I mean, William F. Buckley, founder of the National Review, very famously exiled the John Birch Society and exiled the anti-Semites from the movement. It took a lot of initiative. It took a lot of work. He eventually wouldn't let anybody associated with that movement publish in the National Review. And so the center right, through effort and toil, did a lot of work to exile these people and push them out of the movement. Right? I mean, when you and I were younger, remember George Herbert Walker Bush, as president, told voters in Louisiana, don't vote for David Duke, who was the de facto nominee for governor in that state at that time. And so it's always something that coalitions have to deal with. I mean, even the center left right now is dealing with its own anti-Semitism problem, right? I think part of what's happened is because this overriding desire and belief that the number one priority needs to be defeating the left has created a situation where the populist right that is prone to anti-Semitic thinking, fueled in part by the Republican Party's sort of embrace of conspiracy theories, and this is the oldest conspiracy theory,
yeah,
has allowed this to proliferate. Is it easy to get rid of? Not always. Is it an easy decision to make? It should be.
Should be.
All right, David Drucker, thank you so much. His important new piece is online now. And